I'm Adrian from Adrian's Avenue, and we are back again for another great episode. And you know, on this channel, we help you with your daily decisions because I do believe your daily decisions determines your destiny. And today, I'm going to go average on you. I don't normally go average. You know I'm not average and I don't go average, but I'm going to go average on you. And I'm going to talk about the 5 things that the average American does as far as their finances goes. Stay tuned. Now, I must admit, with these 5 financial realities of average Americans, I was a little shocked at some of these, but we're going to jump right in. And the first one we're going to talk about is debt, specifically consumer debt. But the idea that the average person thinks, the way they think is that you're going to have a mortgage payment for the rest of your life. You buy one house, you move to another one, and you're going to always be paying a mortgage. You're going to have a car payment every time you buy a car. You don't buy cars in cash. You just have that payment. And once the payment is done, you get into another car, or you may have a lease. And then the student loan, you'll be having student loans. You have to take out debt to go to college. Then you have to pay these student loans back. And then the credit cards. Let's not forget those credit cards, those little plastic things that can get us in trouble sometimes. The credit cards. We use these credit cards, and the average American will use the credit card and pay the minimum amount or pay a little bit on the credit card, but never pay them off. They use them as ways of staying in debt, sometimes even overspending and getting into trouble like that. But these are the ways that the average American thinks about debt. And this will limit your ability to actually take on new opportunities, such as if something were to come up and you can actually make some money on it or make an investment on it. You can't do that. Practicing these kind of debt habits can lead to financial stress and also missed opportunities. So this is something that we need to work on. In 2022, a poll was done and the average American had about $101,000 in debt. That's a lot of debt. Of course, this did include a mortgage, but that is a lot of debt to be in. When we start shifting from thinking as debt as a way of life and start thinking in terms of abundance, getting out of debt, investing, growing our money, that's when we will make a difference. The second financial reality is the lack of an adequate emergency fund. 49% of Americans have less than $500 in their bank account to cover emergencies. And we know that this will be an issue because if something comes up and you don't have the money, the first thing you're going to do is pull out the credit card if there is room on the credit card for you to actually charge. So it is a problem when you don't have an emergency fund. You should build up that emergency fund. I say start with about $1,500 to start with. Build it up to at least 1 month of expenses so that you will have something in the bank. If something were to happen, you would have some money to cover, because sometimes we hear about the $1,000 emergency fund. These times and these days with inflation, $1,000 is not going to go very far for anyone. So I'd like to ask you to stop thinking about just $1,000 of an emergency fund and build it up to at least $1,500, and then build it up to at least a month of your expenses. Then after that, you can build up to the 3 months or 6 months or 9 months or even a year for some folks. But this emergency fund is critical because you can get into trouble if something were to happen and you needed the money and you don't have the money. 49% of Americans have less than $500 in their bank account for emergencies. If you're still working, this you can take advantage of, because the third thing that I'm going to discuss with you is that most people, the average American, thinks that once they retire, everything is all dandy and you will be taken care of. If you have a 401k, if you have a means of putting money in a retirement account and you're still working, now is the time to do it, because once you retire, you need to plan that out. I always say retirement is not an age, it is a financial number. And once you hit that financial number, then you can go ahead and retire. And retirement will be based on how much money you have, how long you potentially will live, and the type of life that you would actually want to live. And most of these retirement funds and those kind of things, they will only pay you a portion of what you were making when you were actually working. So if you want to test it out, cut yourself to about 50% of what you're making and try to live on 50%. And then you'll know how much your money or your funds that you're saving will actually carry you through as far as retirement is concerned. This is a great test if you want to test yourself. But just to think that retirement, you can retire, things are going to be okay. Even some of you all think Social Security, if it's there, is going to be the answer to you. Social Security only supports about 40% of what you make. So if you can't live off the 50% that I'm testing you on, the 40% is not going to work. You need some type of supplemental money coming in. And if you're not putting back money for retirement, you need to do something like that. Only 10% of the people that retire actually have $1 million put back, stored up for retirement. $1 million, I'm not saying that's your number. It may not be your number. That may not be enough. It may be more than enough, depending on the kind of life that you want to live. But with inflation going on, I would not count on just $1 million to make it through retirement if you want to live a pretty good life. And depends on, if you're going to give your grandchildren something, if you're going to leave something to your grandkids or your kids when you leave. If the house is paid off, that's most of your income right there that you won't have to have that mortgage payment. But there are things that we can do to help before we retire. But if you are working, make sure you are investing in some type of retirement account, doing some other types of investments, putting things aside so when you do retire, you don't necessarily have to rely on Social Security if it's still there. If a portion of it is there, it may be less than 40% of your income at that time, but you won't have to rely on it. So it is a misnomer to think that you just retire and life is good and it's all gravy. Make sure you get some things in line before you retire, because retirement, you still have to live. You still have to pay bills. You still have to eat, drive your car, wear clothes, the things that you're doing. So it's not just not having any money in retirement. Then you want to have some fun. You've worked all your life. You want to have some fun in retirement. You want to be like a kid, but with money at that point in time. So take care of your retirement. Now, the good reality is you're going to hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest information as it becomes available to you. And I love the comments, you guys. Drop a comment if you'd like. Number 4. Now, this is a shocking reality, especially to me, but 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That means if they were to miss one paycheck, that something is going unpaid, something may be being picked up, something may be locked out, you're just in a fix. And when you miss one paycheck, meaning that if you lose your job at any time, that's going to be it. You can find something as quickly as you can, but there's going to be interruption in your finances if you live paycheck to paycheck. Sometimes it is balancing and juggling money around just to meet it from one month until you get paid the next month. And not all of these people are low income earners. There are people making lots of money, still living paycheck to paycheck because they've had lifestyle inflation where the more they make, they keep moving it up. And when you move it up like that, it's taking up more of the income that you have coming in. So this paycheck to paycheck living is something that we really need to get control of. I have several videos out there talking about the paycheck to paycheck living. It is a reality. People are doing it. They may not be telling you that they're doing it, but people are living paycheck to paycheck. And when you see folks getting stuff and buying new things and the neighbor's doing this, the neighbor's doing that, you don't know what kind of situation that they're in financially. So don't think that if everything looks rosy and for someone that it's like that. They could be living from paycheck to paycheck because, like I said, high earners are living paycheck to paycheck. So we need to get this up under control for sure. And the last one I'll go over with you is about financial literacy. You know what I talk about on this channel. There are things that you can learn. There are comments that people say they appreciate what I'm bringing out and what I'm teaching. Go back on any of my videos and just watch them. I am teaching you about certain things, financial literacy, things that you should know. But there are some people out there that don't know financial literacy, and it's causing a problem because sometimes they'll say what you don't know won't hurt you. What you don't know will hurt you. I mean, it will hurt you, and it'll hurt you, your family, It'll hurt your finances. It starts affecting your health after a while, your opportunities. It will hurt you. This is something that you need to know. Financial literacy, about budgeting, about investing, about saving, about giving, about making the money, managing the money. This is all financial literacy. And this is something that we can no longer just ignore and think that everything is going to be okay. It does not work like that. Let me give you some stats on financial literacy. The first one is only about 25% of all people take the time to even budget. About 29% of adults don't save any of their income whatsoever. And 58% say that they would budget if they knew how to do it correctly. If you continue to watch my channel, I teach budgeting. There are other people out there teaching budgeting. I'm telling you the things that you need to do. You can go online, you can Google budgeting. There are budgeting apps out there. There's no excuse for not knowing how to budget. We learned everything, and I'm getting ready to get on my soapbox now, but we learn anything else that we want to learn about. We follow people that's not helping our finances whatsoever. We know about everything that's going on out there, but when it comes to our own finances, we don't know anything about our own finances. It's time out for that. These are shocking realities of financial status of the average American. And when I say average, most people are doing it like this, but don't be average. If you're on my channel, I don't want you to be average. Ask me questions down in the comments. Let me know if there's something you want me to cover in the future. I'll be glad to do all of that for you. But let's not be average. Let's get a hold of our finances and do the right thing so that we will have the money and live the life that we want to live. Our daily decisions determines our destiny. The things you do on a daily basis will lead you to where you want to go. Not what you think you want to go or what you wish you had. What you do on a daily basis will take you there. And it can take you to the right spot or it can take you to another spot, but it all depends on what you do on a daily basis. So these are 5 shocking realities of finances of an average American. Let's change the ones in our lives.